Natalie Alyn Lind once faced toxic danger with Matt Casey on Chicago Fire. Several iconic guest stars have been saved by the Chicago Fire heroes, including Natalie Alyn Lind. Lind guest starred on Season 5, Episode 4. Nobody Else Is Dying Today, as Laurel McGorry, a teenager trapped inside an industrial facility where a toxic chemical leak created an immediate crisis that Matthew Casey, Jess Spencer, had to clean up. This particular Chicago Fire episode was intense, as Casey raced against the clock to save Laurel and her father from the pending explosion. Read more about Natalie Alyn Lind's Chicago Fire guest appearance below. Laurel brushed past with Firehouse 51 after Matt Casey investigated a shady warehouse. There, Casey met forklift operator Ken and his daughter, Laurel. After Ken accidentally drove his forklift into a vat of sulfuric acid, chaos ensued. The acid killed two colleagues quickly, but Casey was able to pull the injured Ken into a break room where Laurel was. Trapped in the internal break room with no way to contact authorities, Casey teamed up with Laurel to find a solution. Casey hammered through a small opening in a wall, encouraging Laurel to climb through and get them help before an explosion burst. Laurel squeezed through the slim passage, ran out the door, and successfully reached authorities to help save the day. Following Lind's 2016 guest appearance on Chicago Fire, she went on to star in the action series The Gifted as Lauren Strucker. Lind has delivered great performances across TV, including the anthology series Tell Me a Story in the Goldbergs, in which she played Dana Caldwell. In 2023, Lind delivered goosebumps as Norma in the Stephen King flick Pet Sematary. One of Lind's latest film projects was playing Cora Lewis in the 2025 romance Marked Men. Aside from her television and film work, Lind frequently shares updates with fans on her personal Instagram. From her various travels to exciting casting announcements, Lind keeps fans posted on all her latest developments, both personal and professional. The early morning light slanted through the bay doors of Firehouse 51, painting golden streaks across the polished trucks. The air smelled faintly of coffee, diesel, and the clean leather of turnout gear. Most of the crew was half awake, joking quietly, when the alarm shattered the calm. Chemical spill, warehouse district. Possible victims trapped. The dispatcher's voice crackled over the speakers. Matt Casey was already in motion, pulling on his gear with the practiced efficiency of years on the job. "Let's go, people," he called, sliding into the front seat of Truck 81. The sirens roared to life. Natalie Alyn Lind, guest starring in this fictional episode as paramedic trainee Claire Harmon, sat in the back of Ambulance 61 beside Sylvie Brett. Her stomach clenched, not with fear exactly, but with the sharp edge of adrenaline that came from knowing she was about to see something dangerous, maybe deadly. She had shadowed Brett for a few shifts now, but this was her first hazmat call. The warehouse district smelled different from anywhere else in Chicago, a mix of old brick, dust, and industrial tang. As they rolled up, Claire saw men in reflective vests waving frantically near a low brick building. A thin cloud of yellowish vapor drifted out from the loading dock, swirling in the August heat. Casey jumped down from the truck, scanning the scene. "What's in there?" he shouted to one of the workers. "Not sure, cleaning solvents, maybe paint thinner." "One guy's still inside. We think he's in the storage room." Bowden's voice boomed across the lot. "Squad and truck, get eyes on that victim. Hazmat's en route, but we don't wait if someone's dying in there. Mask up, no one goes in without air." Claire watched as Casey and Herman tugged on their SCBAs, the hiss of pressurized air snapping her nerves tighter. Brett squeezed her arm. "Stay close. We're back up until it's safe." But it didn't stay safe for long. A shout cut through the muffled clatter of gear. He's in the back, conscious but barely breathing. Casey's voice carried through the rebreather, urgent and clipped. Then came the bang. Somewhere deep inside the warehouse, something ignited. A drum, a valve, maybe just a spark in the wrong place. The yellow vapor thickened, curling upward into greasy black smoke. "Casey!" Brett yelled, but he didn't answer. She grabbed Claire's sleeve. "We've got to set up triage now." His training kicked in despite the fear scraping down her spine. She yanked open the med kit, laying out oxygen masks, trauma shears, IV lines. Her gloves stuck slightly to her sweaty palms. Out of the smoke came Casey, dragging a limp man with one arm while keeping the other on his regulator. His helmet was streaked with soot, and the edges of his coat were dusted in something like ash, but more corrosive looking. Claire caught a sharp chemical smell even from yards away. "Get him on O2. Casey barked, lowering the victim onto the asphalt. He's been breathing that jump too long. Claire dropped to her knees beside the man. His lips were tinged gray, and his eyes fluttered. "Sir, you're okay. We've got you," she said, though she wasn't sure he could hear her. She fitted the oxygen mask over his face, adjusting the strap as Brett monitored vitals. Then she noticed Casey swaying slightly, his breathing faster than it should have been. "Captain, your air tank," she said, glancing at the gauge. It was nearly empty. He waved her off. "Finish with him first." But the faint acrid scent clinging to Casey's coat made her pulse jump. She'd read enough in training to know. Some solvents could eat through gear, release toxic fumes that slipped in through the tiniest gap. Hazmat trucks screeched up, firefighters in bright suits moving with slow precision. One of them took the patient from Brett and Claire, loading him onto a stretcher. Bowden's voice was sharp. "Casey, get checked, now." For once, Casey didn't argue. He let Brett steer him toward the ambulance. Claire trailed close, still clutching the med kit. She noticed his gloved hands trembling, a sign that whatever he'd breathed in wasn't just smoke. Inside the rig, Brett pulled Casey's helmet off, revealing sweat plastered to his hairline. His skin looked pale under the grime. "How long were you in there without full air?" she asked. Casey shrugged, "Long enough to pull him out." Claire caught his eye. "That's not good enough. You could have absorbed." She stopped herself before listing the terrifying chemical names running through her head. Brett set up an O2 line and started flushing Casey's eyes with saline in case of vapor exposure. Claire found herself holding the mask to his face, the hiss of clean air oddly comforting. "You did good," Casey said between breaths, voice muffled. "Kept your head. That's not easy on a scene like this." Claire gave a half smile. "I'm just glad you walked out of there. My first week doesn't need a funeral." That earned a faint chuckle, not planning on one either. By the time they returned to 51, the adrenaline had worn off, leaving only exhaustion. The hazmat team confirmed the warehouse had been storing an illegal mix of industrial solvents, stuff so volatile that a single static spark could have set it off, which it nearly had. In the kitchen, Herman slapped Casey on the back. "Next time, maybe don't try to wrestle toxic waste with your bare lungs." Casey smirked. "I'll take that under advisement." Claire lingered in the doorway, sipping water. She'd signed up for this job knowing it was dangerous, but seeing it up close, the quick decisions, the selfless rush into danger, hit different. It wasn't just about skill. It was about choosing, every time, to step toward the fire instead of away. Later, when most of the house had gone quiet, she found Casey on the apparatus floor, checking over his gear. The faint chemical stains had been scrubbed out, but she knew the memory of that smell would stick with her. "You're okay, right?" she asked. Casey looked up, his expression softening. "I'm fine. Doc's cleared me." Little headache, nothing I can't handle. She hesitated, then said, "You scared me out there." His eyes met hers steadily. Part of the job. But so is watching out for each other. You did that. For a moment, the only sound was the distant hum of the city outside. Claire realized that toxic danger wasn't just about the chemicals or the flames. It was about the risk they all took, the unspoken trust that someone would have your back when things went sideways. And in that unsteady space between danger and safety, she knew she wanted to keep showing up. At Firehouse 51, that was the only way to be.